My name is Jeff Morgan. I am from Dallas, Texas, and I want to talk very briefly about a couple of videos that are coming up. First off, though, I want to thank all the people who went down to the State Commission on Judicial Conduct on October the 2nd. All 45 of the testimonies are online. And I want to thank you for speaking against the corruption that is present within our courts. Thank you for those who spoke against misconduct. Thank you for those who brought to the State Commission on Judicial Conduct that their lack of transparency, their lack of accountability, their ineffectiveness or inefficiency in addressing these issues is causing great harm to the people of Texas. I had hoped to be down there. I just couldn't make it due to my commitments at work. My only thing that I was going to talk about, among many things, was that they have now made it harder for people to submit their complaints about judicial corruption, because they used to have it that you could actually submit it online. I've done several videos on that. I've put them out there. And if you look at issues of transparency, that's something that you should have within a company, within a corporation, within a government agency. You should make it easier for people to report fraud and corruption and abuse and the violation of people's rights, not more difficult. By removing the online ability to submit a complaint, the State Commission on Judicial Conduct has made it harder on the people of Texas. I would actually say that because of this, and especially in the year 2024, especially when all the processes were already in place, all the resources were allocated, that they are actually aiding and abetting the fraud and the misconduct that takes place in our courts. So I want to again thank all the people who went down there. It was great to see. I saw some of my friends down there. Again, I wanted to be there, just could not pull it off. But I saw people that I had never seen before, people that had a lot of gravitas behind them, doctors, lawyers, prosecutors, people who have prosecuted drug crimes, amazing people, and also the regular people like us that are parents or grandparents that are talking about the issues of corruption and the way that it has been impacting the people of Texas. Thank you to all of you and good job. Now, in addition to that, I want to talk about the upcoming interview that I have with a lady called Marcella. Marcella's story is very, very interesting. I heard about it maybe a couple of months ago. Maybe I've talked with her before that, I don't know. Met her for the first time today in person, got to interview her. And what's very important about her story is that there is a representative of our people in Texas, Ana Maria Ramos. She's a Democrat. She's running for the Speaker of the House. And when you hear the stuff that she has done, she has facilitated, she has let her husband get away with, the hypocrisy, the disgraceful actions, the disgusting actions that she has done, I think you'll be as appalled as I was. And when I spoke with Marcella off camera, there's even more. And then I got to read some of the messages, some of the other things that she had. She brought some documentation with her. But as with most people who've gone through this corrupt system, the documentation that we have, number one, it doesn't really make a difference because often the facts don't make a difference. There's a predetermined outcome. And often it's the attorneys who collude with the judges, or they get a child custody evaluator who's a friend of the judge. And it's a whole scam. The entire thing is a scam. But in addition to that, even though she had probably this much documentation with her, if you look at what she could have had, it was probably 3 times that amount. She brought a sliver of what she has. And many of us are familiar with that fact. I've seen people go into the courtroom taking boxes of evidence with them that has taken place over the course of a few years or more. But again, it doesn't make a difference to many of these judges. Our court systems are broken. Our family courts are broken. Our probate courts are broken. And more I have come to the conclusion that our criminal courts are broken. And we have an agency called the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, and they are not doing their job. They're making it harder for the people to file. Anyway, Ana Maria Ramos, who is running for Speaker of the House as a Democrat, she has facilitated a lot of this stuff. And when you hear the story, I think you'll agree with me that I believe her license to practice family law should be permanently revoked. I believe she should be sanctioned. I believe the legislature should investigate her, should impeach her, should make her resign, and cause her to lose her retirement funds. What she has done to kidnap a child, to assist in the kidnapping of a child, and giving the child to a man who wanted the mother to abort the child, I think is criminal in itself. And then afterwards, Marcela got to speak a few words in Spanish so that those people who don't know English as a first language can hear directly from her what they need to know about Ana Maria Ramos. Ana wants to pretend that she's representing Latinos and Latinas, and especially the feminine Latinas, but she's not. Her actions show that she has been engaged in some pretty despicable things, pretty hypocritical things. And we'll let her interview speak for herself. We'll let her speak for herself in her interview, both in English and also in Spanish. And finally, I've got one other video that I'm going to be posting, and this is from a hearing with Bradley Miller. Bradley Miller, who was having a hearing in front of, I believe it was Judge Dale Tillery, something like that. Anyway, you will see in this hearing that somebody from within the court kept on trying to exclude court watchers. This is unconstitutional, and basically based on what Judge Roy Ferguson said and and what he wrote with regard to COVID, this should constitute a reversal of his hearing. But furthermore, it is criminal again, I believe. We the people have the right to monitor our courts. We the people have a right to observe what's going on. And I also believe that we the people have the right to record what's going on, especially when criminal actions are taking place, when fraudulent actions are taking place. In the video that I'm going to be presenting to you, I was kicked out of the courtroom 84 times. Each time I tried to get back in, I was kicked out immediately thereafter. And it was not just me who had been kicked out. Everybody who was there to observe, to court watch on behalf of Bradley Miller was kicked out. Robert Garza was kicked out. Rustin Wright was kicked out. Stuart McMullen was kicked out. I believe there was one other person, I don't remember who it was. Some of us were kicked out on multiple occasions. I don't think anybody got kicked out 84 times. I thought at the moment that she kicked me out, or whoever it was kicked me out, I wanted to make sure I'm getting right back in. I could not believe this was actually happening, but it happened so many times. And as we're discussing it, we saw that this was happening to everybody who was there to support Bradley Miller. What does that tell us about our courts? Our courts cannot be trusted. Why do they want to have star chambers? This should have been done in the public, and now at least this aspect of it will be done in the public. And for the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, this organization is supposed to make sure that things are being done correctly, the procedures being followed. It is blatant that they did not follow the procedures that they should have. They tried to deprive we the people of the rights to oversee our courts and to be there as a witness and as a support for our friend Bradley Miller. This is a very grave issue. I hope our legislature takes this up and looks at this. Jeff Leach, who is the chair of the Civil Jurisprudence Committee, we have talked with him about this on other occasions, and nevertheless, it still has not been addressed. This is a very big issue, especially when you look at the damage that's being done to the people of Texas. As these judges, and maybe they're friends, maybe some of these legislators are friends with judges. We can't prosecute friends. You are supposed to be upholding righteousness and justice, and that is not being done in our Texas courts. So I will again offer this video. It will be a count of how many times I was kicked out of the courtroom. I believe every single time I was kicked out intentionally was a violation. And if you add up the other peoples that were kicked out, we're probably talking at least 150 violations. There should be at least be more than just a 2-hour, well, get some a little more education, Judge. There should be something very substantial. In fact, I think we ought to be looking at court administrators being fined. I think judges should be fined. I think they should lose access to some of their retirements. Their retirement benefits are very, very generous. After 20 years on the bench, I believe they get 100% of their pay. So if they're making $168,000 a year, they get $168,000 for life. Now you can check me on this. I'm pretty sure those facts are accurate. But if I'm off a little bit, go ahead and check and see, because maybe you'll find out that I was accurate on the downside, not on the upside. Anyway, these are some very important issues that I think we need to look at. So this is an introduction to the next 1, 2, 3, I think the next 3 videos. Maybe it's 4, I don't know. Anyway, I wish you the best again for the people who went down to testify in front of the SCJC. Thank you. Thank you for your outstanding testimonies. And for our legislators, you need to be watching to see what's happening to you, the people that you represent. This is criminal what is going on in our state of Texas. and you have a responsibility to start fixing these issues. For Ana Maria Ramos, I think you need to make a full public confession. I think you should actually resign prior to this upcoming election. And the legislature, I believe, should actually be investigating you and should consider removing your entire retirement account. I believe the bar should permanently revoke your license. And even though I know you're not the only one who does this, we know this for a fact, but you are in the position right now as a legislator, you have a higher level of responsibility. You should be dealt with more strictly, more harshly. You should be dealt with justice, and the people should not be forced to suffer once again. For the Hispanic people who will listen to Marcela, take what she says to heart. There's a lot of people that claim to represent you. They do not do so. They lie to you. It's common practice for some of these politicians to lie to you. With regard to the judge in Bradley Miller's case, again, this needs to be investigated. This was a major, major issue against the people. Our rights were being violated, and it was done willingly, intentionally, recklessly, and there needs to be some accountability. These people should know better. After all, they are the legal professionals, right? They have had judicial training. We are just the scum, the people, the hoi polloi. We don't know anything, but we do read English, and the English language is clear. You have codes of judicial conduct. You have things that you are supposed to abide by, and you did not do so. And some of these attorneys that were there as well, like Scott Graydon from the Office of the Attorney General, he lied about a number of things. I believe that that was the case as well, but I was kicked out too often to follow it all, wasn't I? Judge Hillary and whoever it was acting on, or Judge Tillery, whoever it was that was acting on his behalf, or trying to keep me out of the court. Anyway, we cannot have star chambers. We should have transparency. We need this. Thank you for listening, and this is, like, again, the introduction for the next few videos. Thank you so much.